Hi, I'm Ekta. Once again, I've got an opportunity to have a word with one of India's finest brains when it comes to architecture. Very happy again to be at Goyal House. It is Spirit of Goyal and I welcome you here. Why am I so excited about today's episode? Because it is personal favorite. बहुत कम ऐसे लोग होते हैं जो बचपन से एक बहुत अच्छे से प्यारे से बड़े घर का सपना देखते हैं. मैं उन हिंदुस्तानियों में से हूँ. और जब आप ऐसा सपना बचपन से लेकर बड़े होते हैं तो आप उसकी बहुत रिसर्च करते हैं. आप देखते हैं कि कौन है ऐसे लोग जो जानकार हैं, जो जाने माने हैं. जब खूबसूरत घरों की बात आती है, जब ऐसे घरों की बात आती है जहाँ पर कहीं सूरज की किरणें भी आ रही है आपके लिविंग रूम में, आप ऐसी जगहों पे बैठे हैं जहाँ पर देयर इज़ नेचुरल एयर, देयर इज़ ग्रीनरी, देयर इज़ योर ओन मिनी गार्डन इनसाइड योर लाउंज एंड व्हाट नॉट. बिकॉज घर का सपना तो हर कोई देखता है ना, लेकिन जब आप ऐसे सारे एलिमेंट्स के बारे में सोचते हैं, there is one name which is very special to my heart, the name which I like literally suggest to so many people, and that's the first name which comes. So I was very happy when I got to know that I will be able to have a conversation with him today, and that is Hiren Patel. Hello.
Thank you so much.
How are you?
For such a lovely, kind words.
I am honest, like I said, that if I talk about that the day I will be able to have my dream home,
Right.
I really wish that God helps me to be able to give you a call that, sir, I do have all the clarifications, I do have the budgets, and I want you to do it.
Right. It's something amazing to hear the similar conversation I had with one TV anchor from Paris.
Oh.
And her name was Catherine.
Oh.
And she had called me. This is a long story.
Huh.
And she had called us. And Maheshwari, we call Mickey in our office. Maheshwari is kind of handling the first call of the office. And she said, "Sir, કોઈ ઇંગ્લિશમાં બોલે છે ને બહુ મને ખ્યાલ નથી આવતું પણ પેરિસથી બોલે છે અને she says કે અમારે તમારી સાથે કામ કરાવવું છે." So and she wants to come on this is a time before Zoom calls. So it was Skype we used to talk. Yeah. So that's the era. And then that time my son was in 11th standard, very naughty boy. So I said there nobody must be calling from, who is going to from Paris is going to call you for design, something like that. And I say it must be a prank call from Karan because he must be masti karta hase. And then we realized that there was a mail came from her and it was Catherine, and she said, why can't we come on the Skype? And then when we were very conscious about it because so when we had Skype, we say पीछे का जरा देख लेना, वो कलर निकल रहा है तो जरा कैमरा एंगल एडजस्ट करना, because we are talking to somebody who's an international client. And then I still remember that lady's world. We wanted to do some sustainable project for her, for sustainable community, for sustainable architecture, and she chose us basically. So she said, I still remember the first world. A French lady, a very influenced lady from Paris, was saying, "Mr. Patel, will you design for me?" And I say, अंदर से तो बोल रहा है हाँ ही बोलना है, because if you get the opportunity to work in Paris, why not? No. So that's something like very similar. And she say, Hiren, my dream is when I have money, I will come back to you to make a house in somewhere in France. So anyway, thank you so much for
it is. And I'm manifesting it right away in this episode itself, that I'll be able to give you a call that, sir, I am ready with everything and I really wish you go ahead with the way you design spaces. Why? Because I think बहुत ओछा लोग होए, and very rarely it happens that someone is able to genuinely work through the challenges and bring nature inside their living rooms, inside their bedrooms, close to them. Okay. And honestly speaking, I too have realized the importance of it in the past few years. With people like you, brains like you, understanding the challenges and helping people come out of that stress. I remember when I was researching about you, and ek lawyer che, whose residence that you have done.
Yes.
And it is so beautiful, like how you wake up mornings tamari kai ritna thai. There is a outdoor bathroom that you've done for them, which has open sky.
True.
I'm sure they must be so happy looking at that, and it's a different experience altogether.
True. Yeah.
So what is it that Hiren Patel, not as an architect, but Hiren Patel as a person, એટલી બધી પેલી લાગણી પ્રકૃતિની સાથે અને એને ખેંચીને લઈને આવવું, How does that happen? Is there like a connection from the roots itself while you were growing up that you have love for nature?
Right.
Because when I look at you, sir, I feel that Hiren Patel is a person who's a person of trees, plants and light. He wants nature.
Okay.
Because when you look at his designs, that's what you look.
Right.
But we'd like to know from you.
Okay. So basically, see what happened that I graduated from the SEPT School of Architecture in Ahmedabad, and I became an architect. Yes, I went to Switzerland to work for a while as an experience. Also, I went to Switzerland as an exchange student. And then that time there were hardly any school for interior designing. So over the time when you start your own practice, you get the work of interior designing. I say after my practice after the 10-15 years, I really got the wisdom of doing landscaping, and that's where I realized that it was the idea came that when anybody wants to make a house, let's say if you talk about house, the three wings of designing fraternity will come: architecture, interior designing and landscaping designing. So it's like a three. If I was thinking that if you have one canvas, what you see in the behind, and if you have three genius artists to worked upon, because of their different philosophy of thinking, there's a big risk of canvas getting spoiled. So that's what we thought. Let's start. Even we are not educated on the field of landscaping. Let's work on it. And landscape is nature is the one which allow you to do the mistakes. So it doesn't matter. So we took a courage of starting with the landscaping, and that's how now we think of landscaping first, then the architecture. So whenever we create the architecture, we say, this is not the finished project. Once our landscaping will hide our architecture, the project is completed. So that's the full love towards the landscaping has gone to that way. I'm a slow learner. I'm always, I believe, to be a student for in the entire life, and that's how the things comes. I would say that people has a different approach for design. Everybody. I have n number of gurus in my field. I keep on learning from people, and thanks to the today's social media, you can actually go. If I go to Instagram of Norman Foster and I see he's sketching something, I will zoom out and I see kaun si pencil use kare sir, kaun sa background hai, no? Because you really want to learn. So even after the let's say practice of 35 years, I'm still learner. I'm still ready to learn. Whenever I get the opportunity, I always take classes online and try to do sabbatical and start working with and learning with some classes. So that's something which is a good thing. Second, I would say that for me, work is a worship, definitely. And somehow this philosophy has came so much into this because I happen to work with lots of spiritual spiritual guru. People believe them like a god. And when I go there, so why don't you take their wisdom from what they follow, and that's the way of teaching their thing. All those followers will say, you are meeting one-to-one, and why don't you take that spiritual learning or lessons from them? So it starts from the Ravi Shankar Maharaj, Sri Ravi Shankar, or it's Dada Niruma from the Dada Bhagwan, or there are Bhai from he passed away from the Gondal. Everybody believe them such a dignified soul of this thing, and I have always worked from them as an architect, and everywhere whenever somebody forced me to learn lesson from her or he, every time they say, don't impose on Hiren. For him, worship is his work, and that's I somehow get into. And I say, when I'm working, it's a prayer to the God, and that's something very spiritual to me. That is either it's extension of a small house, or it's some big villa. Our accountability has to be the same. So it doesn't mean that we only do the big things, but even it's a small thing, we have to do 100%. And now we are looking for happiness. I mean, constant inner fighting is, will by doing this, will the happiness will come. So slowly, like you are getting mature day by day. It doesn't matter. It's Italian flooring, it's a quota stone, but how you bring nature, how you bring happiness to your end product. So that's what we keep on working on.
There is so much of learning while just listening to you, and I think that is one of the reasons that I was some kind of, like looking forward to this conversation. While you're talking about that, while you're designing, while you are working on such structures, A worship है. You are
True.
so included, so involved, you are surrendering to
Right.
it.
Right.
It
true.
is very much similar, because that is why I think you are given the title of maestro when it comes to architecture. Similar kind of thing, because I've had a conversation with A.R. Rahman. I think in 2014 I was hosting one of the awards, and ત્યારે red carpet ઉપર જ્યારે વાત થઈ હતી, so he just received an award and he came. Exactly, it was this, that I do not do anything, it is worship, I surrender.
Yeah.
ત્યારે
true.
જે થાય in those
Yeah.
in those vibes, in
Right.
that connection. I think that is why when we look at your work, it looks like that. There is a story, there is an expression, and the feeling that you want to give something.
Yeah.
That
True,
is
true,
very
true,
beautiful,
true,
sir.
yeah.
That's very beautiful.
Yeah.
You want to give nature, you want to give something to the other person. So while we talk about such structures which bring so much life to people, there is one structure which you visit a lot in Pondicherry. One building which you have been visiting a lot.
Okay.
Huh.
Which one is that?
If I'm not wrong, Golconda building.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And you love it.
Absolutely.
Whenever you go to Pondicherry, you go there.
Absolutely.
I'd love to know about it. એવું
Okay.
શું છે which the Hiren Patel loves about that building?
Okay. So Pondicherry is a destination where I would go and live and die. Aurobindo Ashram. And this is when I was in 11th standard I went, and I still remember that the vibes of the place. Luckily what happened when I went to Pondicherry, I mean my parents' house, we had one room and we had somebody who was staying on a rent, and that gentleman, her cousin's sister, she was ashramized and she was living in ashram.
Okay.
And so we went together with him and we stay with that lady's family, where they see her two lovely daughters and husband and a wife, and they were purely into Aurobindo Ashram in Pondicherry, not the Auroville. So I happened to stay almost a week over there, and I could be a part of complete life of the Aurobindo Ashram people, and I was astonished by the way they were living. It was the ideal way of living, where the girls they were of my age, and when we were playing the cards, the both sisters will talk in French and we could not understand. I said, wow, she know French, because they learn French. And then in the evening we'll have the meditation class. I would can go with them, and something which I never done something there. And every Thursday they will go to swim in the sea as a swimming class. And tennis, it was such a wonderful mixture of sophisticated sports, education. And then that lady was a teacher in the school, and she was a Gujarati teacher. So I said, I forgot Induben. I said, Induben, તમે શું શીખવાડો as a teacher? તો she said, Hiren, ઝવેરચંદ મેઘાણીની નોવેલ લઈશ અને એને આપણે નેક્સ્ટ યરમાં ભણાવીશું. That's the course. So
Wow.
I say, wow. I mean, now we have IB level and everything, but those times there was nothing like that. And I said, this is the way of teaching. So she said, I will take one novel of Beautiful, and then the entire semester I will teach children about the Gujarati language. So I was impressed. And then we wanted to see. I mean, you go to the Bhojan Shala, the dining hall, where you become silent and you eat and you wash your dishes by yourself. And then we came across this beautiful building. This was with concrete louvers, and we went inside in the courtyard. So it was I could sense. I mean, I was the 11th standard boy. No understanding about what is architecture kind of. Obviously, I have my father and my brothers were civil engineers. My father was a town planner, so there is understanding of that. And our neighbors were NID dean, so their building was coming up. So there was always kind of liking about architecture. But that Golconda building, where it's very much like a Portuguese French colony, that is a big door you enter, and it was a beautiful garden with Japanese vibes of Japanese garden, and the building was such a simple finish with the kind of louvers you open. And even today, after so many years, it's more than 65 years old building now, and still it works fantastic. So whenever I go, still I discover a new thing about the simplicity of the thing and timelessness. So that timelessness thing is also, again, we are working kind of, we say, will we bring the happiness? But at the same time, we are also working constantly on timelessness of the building, that it should not get faded away. And the Golconda is the best example. And this time I went, and then I realized there is that the architect, he became eventually a furniture designers, and there's a lovely book, and I just bought it. I have to read that book to understand the life of that architect. Yeah.
People who are listening to this conversation or viewing this conversation I will recommend definitely check out Instagram of Hiren sir, because there are so many beautiful like things which people will not know about Hiren Patel as an architect. But when you look at such things, for example, there is this post I saw, there is a sketch which you have done, and there is this child, he's your grandchild, I think. There is another sketch, and that has a very beautiful caption. It says that when kids they do it without any fear. And fearlessness na कारण जो वस्तु बने, बिंदास होकर जब आप कोई चीज़ करते हैं, आप बेबाक होते हैं, आपको कोई डर नहीं होता, उसकी खूबसूरती अलग होती है. So that says so much about the character. I think that helps us understand that when you must be designing or doing your creations, there is so much of you involved in that. And all of this is put into it. There is an emotional investment as a person. There is an energy which is involved into it. Has there any such project or anything which you can share, any experience wherein you were stuck somewhere? And તમને થયું કે I will, like, there has to be some solution to it, some kind of a way out or opening. Has there ever been anything like that? Any such instance or story that you'd like to share with us?
So I would say there is always a desire to learn something new. At the moment we are thinking how we can dilute the architecture itself. We want to vanish the architecture and create the architecture. So that's a new thing. So there is no affection towards the building form. There is no affection towards materialism and what you create. So then the best example is nature. I mean, you go below the banyan tree, the space, or you sit on the huge rock and you get the shadow, and that's a kind of space. So now how much as a human you create architecture where there is no architecture. So that's where the new thinking keeps coming. And so that means you constantly try to achieve yourself. I always say that keep running. Don't worry of this, and one day you realize, oh, you have climbed the mountains. So it's not about the putting your friend behind you, but no, you have to keep running and with your own pace. So I love swimming, I love running. My running is, people say kaka thodu dhime dhime dodi raha chho, no, because I'm almost 57 now. So but I still try to keep constantly keep on running and doing. So in your work also keep running slowly you realize you have gone so ahead. So idea is that keep on learning new things. And I would say that you get stuck, and every time say कि कोई vitamin ni गोली nothing बोलते कि no, ideas come. So you constantly try. So we say the people will come. Many times people say, we have seen your this work, and please do like that and nothing more. We are happy. But we say no, we have to go one step further through this. And at the same time, now today's time also is very demanding. People are so aware of the things, and then sometimes they also guide you. Many times I say to our client that after the project gets over, we are going to change our phone. Because in their phones there was so much of data, I say I can use for next 10 projects, because for them it's the first only house.
Digital space has changed.
Yeah, so they have so much of collection of the ideas.
People come with a lot of
lot of ideas and
thoughts.
lots of
So I know one of the projects, I think someone wanted, like they were in awe of the Scotland architecture, and you created this whole space. Like there is, okay, this is something totally different. It doesn't exist. It was so beautiful, magnificent.
Yeah.
And I was like, like, and people come with such demands.
Yeah, so
Loko bahar jaye, loko etlu badhu juve. Digital space has changed.
So I always say that every week I have 5 times or 3 times the tear in my eyes. The people are that demanding.
Oh,
even after so many years of practice, so much of recognition, people are so demanding. I mean, I remember that house where they say we want a house for something from Scotland. We say, in heat of Ahmedabad, 45 degrees, Scotland house is what?
How?
And then what actually happened, then we made a beautiful plan, they loved the plan, the facade we were working, and they got with some reference house of, let's say, from Scotland or Italy somewhere, and we make a WhatsApp group to have a dialogue and common messages. The DP we say, right? The image,
the DP,
the DP of that house was the photograph of this coastline image of
the one that they saw.
They saw.
Oh, Bapre.
So we were so tense that even building
How to
building
match
is
this?
coming up and still they are not convinced what we are going to do it.
Oh my
And
God.
then again it's their visa, their wishes which as a client I have to fulfill. As accountability, I have to see that it is timeless. It should not fade away. So we can't make mimicry of it. No. But we worked upon because we thought it was a challenge. Otherwise, we could have done something very similar what we have been doing. And frankly, that house has come up so well, and people come and love that house. So it has become that it got both the thing, the kind of quality we wanted to achieve, but because of their force to this, it happened. Recently, I am telling also that we were working on one project where interior stage has come. Beautiful young people, young brothers and sisters, they are demanding, parents are silent, and they say, Hiren uncle, we want to make something. And see what happened then, when you are making something, you will also show some reference image, no, to make them understand, because
Correct.
the pictures will guide them well.
True.
And our flooring people has done already flooring, the ceiling is done, carpenters are on board, and they say, we are not getting excited about it because everything has been done, and we are looking for the kind of wow factor, and we are not sure. And I would say half the way how to convince you wow factor, because it's difficult, because you can't get everything on 3Ds. So, and it was so much of pressure, because what happened, somebody started doubting you, you come to double pressure. So your performance is, I always say कि अगर आप सचिन को बोलेंगे कि सेंचुरी मारेगा सेंचुरी तो वो नहीं मार पाएगा. So this is the same pressure, peer pressure you are creating to us. Please trust us. At the end we are there to make something beautiful. But they are well traveled, so they are also right. When something is coming, they are not able to perceive what is coming, and they keep questioning to you. So we say, please give 10 days to us. We'll completely redo the presentation. After 2 years of interior work was going on, like from designing to now execution stage, we say 10 days, let's have a block, we don't do anything, and we work. And then we thought, how we did lots of internal exercise within the team about how to raise our own bar also. And we said, let's make models of 3Ds, interiors. So we actually create the very graphical models, and we thought, those people actually love art. And we say, how can we make the entire house curated with the art? So that thinking never come. So we say it's an art gallery for them, or it's an art gallery. So we are not doing interior designing, but we are curating the entire house, which is like experience. So we worked for 10 days. We did presentation, and that day was like that, yes or no from them. ठीक है, नहीं तो we are changing the, otherwise we are changing the interior design. It was that simple.
Totally.
So, and they say, Hiren uncle, we love your presentation, and we say thank you so much, because you actually raised our bar. So
The
now
challenge
we were
came
so
and-
excited. So that's where it's
Wonderful.
at the end you get exhausted, but the result comes and you feel very happy.
Results are beautiful,
Yeah.
and that is why it's an honor to have a conversation with you, listen to these details,
Yeah.
understand about literally what goes in the day of an architect, someone
Yeah.
who has I think the whole pressure scenario is because people expect.
Yeah.
The name has delivered so much that people expect.
Yeah.
And you want to meet their hearts. You want to make sure
Yeah.
that they are happy
Yeah.
at the end of the day. Like I
Absolutely.
said, your entire thought process of giving
Yeah.
and making them feel that there is
Yeah.
something that has come
Right.
from you. One quick question I
Yeah.
have, I think we'll end the conversation with that, is how does Hiren Patel as an architect maintain his zen, because your projects are all about zen. When we look at your designs and the places that you've done, residences or all such, I mean, if I have to describe someone, you give them vacation. When you give them a home, you're actually giving them a vacation.
Very
That's
true.
the kind of space that you always design and you give. How do you maintain your zen?
Yeah.
How does that
Okay.
happen?
See, I say we are in a service line. So we are service provider. I mean, so it's like, who is my inspiration to give the best service is a waiter into the 7-star hotel. See, when we go to any restaurant, I mean any fine dining of the 7-star, let's say we did ITC there, and if you go there, if you are having a cup of coffee, and by your fault, the coffee falls down, the boy will come running. He will come running, no, because he noticed that something wrong happened to that. It is not his problem, it was done by you. First thing he will say, sorry sir. such a wonderful gesture, and he will clean up the table. He will take away that empty cup. He will go back. He will come back with a new refilled coffee with one extra cookie. That's the level of service. I mean, उसका कोई था ही नहीं mistake, but he will come to you, clean up. He will see that now you forget that incident and to make you more comfortable. So his experience of having the food or something become wonderful memory for them. So even it was not his mistake, he will make sure you become comfortable, you won't feel guilt about, and give even better service. So that's where kind of thing I see, look at somebody does so much versus as an architect what we are doing. So this is one thing, and to keep quiet with so much of pressure, for me, I feel that which after pandemic I have reduced, which I should start again, is about giving time for a little fitness, trying to, so I love swimming, I love running. So my likings of doing things of any fitness is something alone. So you are with yourself. So once you are running, you are with, it's lots of like meditation. If you are doing swimming, it's lots of like meditation. So that's make me calm.
There's a lot of learning today which has happened, and like I said in the beginning itself, I'd like to repeat thank you for giving your precious time.
Thank you.
And
so
thank you for helping me understand, giving a lot of insights. Of course, and as an architect, but I'd say that as a human, there's a lot to learn from you, sir.
Thank
and
you
today
so much.
I am definitely taking a lot in my books. So thank you so much. And
Thank
you again to Goyal for doing this beautiful thing.
Thank you. It was lovely talking to you as well.
Thank you. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.